Founders, building in the Middle East.
Well, g'day, Sam. Back for another Golf Founders podcast, and I've got to tell you, I'm a little bit excited about today's topic.
Me too. I can't wait to see your tools, and I'm so happy that we're recording this as well, so a larger audience can see this, which is again the whole point of us doing this podcast, sharing all of our tips and tricks, and now all the latest tips and tricks and stuff that we've been bubbling away with behind the scenes when it comes to AI.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, it's moving so quickly that some of the foundations of the tools might change quite quickly, but there's some principles there that I think will remain constant. And yeah, you're right. I'm so glad we're recording this. Like, I caught up with a mate of mine last week over in Motor City in Dubai, and he's a geek on this kind of thing like me. And we just spent like an hour and a half going, oh, have you tried this? Are you using that? Oh, yeah, I'm experimenting this. And I was like taking notes like furiously of other things that I haven't even explored yet. So, yeah, it's a very exciting topic. And I guess we just need to remember bringing it back to how founders can utilize this for their own, personal topics and also for their organizations as well.
I love the excitement about it. I think if you're not excited about this, then as a founder of a company, then you're really like doing a disservice for the company in regards of keeping on top and of the evolution and innovations coming to market. And then therefore, if everyone else is doing this, then you're going to become far more inefficient as a company. And really, like, these things need to be rolled out from the top down, really, isn't it? From the SME company perspective. So if you're sleeping right now, then again, doing a complete disservice. I was like also interested to see what you've been tinkering away with. Again, so cool that we're recording this, and there'll probably be plenty of other people out there interested to see what you're doing, what we're doing. And also the case studies, like you said with your friend, everyone else is doing the same thing, tinkering away, doing some little side hustle hobbies. But mostly, I think at the moment, what we're seeing is like it's not usually going for a commercial purpose. It's more so making it your life personally or company-wise more efficient, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's a lot of talk around the end of SaaS and the jobs, they're going to be, huge amounts of joblessness and so on. And I take an opposite perspective. Like, it's going to happen very quickly. You need to be right on top of it. It needs to be, I think, founder-led, because you have the obviously the interest, hopefully the curiosity, or else you wouldn't have started a company. And then you're kind of pushing all this to everyone in your team and really encouraging the use of these tools to make sure you stay on top of things, because the risk is you get left behind. The axiom about you're not going to be your job's not going to be replaced by AI. It's going to be replaced by someone that's using AI, and I think that I think it's very true.
I did a presentation last week, and you have to, if you're not using AI and optimizing your operations or your company or evolving it, then you got to watch your back from both sides, from startups, obviously, who can do things, who take some of your pie, but also from enterprise. If enterprise is rolling this out, they're going to be more efficient as well. So I was thinking, like, when we're preparing for this podcast, like, you could also use this for your personal life perspective as well, right? Like, build some of these tools, for financial planning or for just day-to-day sort of like housekeeping or for your grocery shopping list. You could do this for practically anything, but I think more so because this is for startups and for companies, let's keep it for the sort of company focus and the commercial aspect of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a dozen kind of projects that are just personal things that I worked on in the background, but probably less of an interest because they're too esoteric for the audience. So, well, let's get into it then. So let's talk about how we are using AI inside of the business. And so I'll kick off saying, we're an e-learning company. So how are we using things? So for Capytech, AI is threaded throughout our products right now. So to give you an idea, we use bit of software called Articulate. We're a partner with those guys, and they've got AI more and more integrated throughout. So what we have now is we can generate content. We can import documents and generate e-learning. In fact, I'm running a webinar later today about utilizing AI for e-learning. But it would already been done by the time we publish this, so you missed it. But find it on LinkedIn. So that can generate images, generate text, generate questions, all utilizing AI. So it's and all integrated into the same tool. We do a lot of design work as a part of what we do. So that can be generating images or editing images, because we need to be very concise when it comes to capturing client branding, these kind of components. So we have to make sure that we're getting that right on point. And that was always a weak point when it came to AI in the past. So getting image consistency was always a challenge, and that's why you had a lot of constraints there, but that has gotten a lot better. And one of the biggest areas of growth for us right now is AI animations. So we, in the past, so these animations, they could be inside of e-learning, like part of a, explaining a concept, or they can be a separate animation. It could be something promoting something even. So in the past, we would use like Adobe Premiere, After Effects, and these kind of tools. But our timelines were typically weeks, literally weeks to develop, a few minutes of animation. It took a long time, but now we use tools like Adobe Firefly, and we combine those with other tools. So we often have a hybrid of different tools. So we might use Gemini, Nano, Banana to generate an image, and then we'll use another tool to kind of do the intro and outro, and then we use something like Firefly to generate the components in between. Now there's still a challenge a little bit there when it comes to making sure there's consistency. It's still not perfect, but it's a lot better than what it has ever been in the past. So we're getting a lot of traction on that, and the results they're almost speaking for themselves now. Like where we can generate, what would have taken us weeks in the past, literally it takes us days now. So we can turn around full animation projects within a week quite often now. And
what about the narration? Have you checked out 11 Labs, or are you using, or maybe the narration audio is already embedded in Adobe Firefly? Like I haven't used Firefly before, actually.
Yeah, so Firefly is all about imagery, and so on. So yes, we do use 11 Labs. So we use 11 Labs when it comes to, I've utilized it directly in some of our AI, like chatbots and so on, to give the voice component for that, because it's very strong there. Within our e-learning authoring tools, it's already there. So and it is in fact coming from 11 Labs. We know that because we also have 11 Labs separately, and then the names of the artists kind of match. So we already have that directly there. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because if you, it's probably 18 months ago, but our bill for voiceover actors 18 months ago was fairly substantial, and it was 90% because the quality of AI wasn't quite there. 90% of our clients would go with a real voiceover actor, and we give them, a list and so on.
British and male or female.
Exactly. That's exactly. And we had a directory of voiceover artists that we worked with, and we've been doing that for, a dozen years or whatever.
Decade plus.
And now it's completely switched on ahead. In fact, it might be a few months since I last paid for a voiceover artist. And I mean, we talk about people not losing jobs, but we are not giving jobs to voiceover artists almost anymore. Everything's being done by AI.
That's why I cringed. I'm like, they're totally out of a job.
I mean, if they've got the recurring work, I mean, the risk for those guys is you can clone voices as well quite easily now. Not that people should be doing that ethically anyhow, particularly if it's someone's livelihood. However, that is very, very possible.
Totally technically doable. Yeah.
Totally. And very, very, you take like a couple of sentences and it's strikingly good. I mean, the advantage of the AI there for us, beyond like a reduction in cost, which is definitely there, there's an obvious reduction in cost, but it also makes the ability to update content so much better. So we for best practices for our clients, we have to recommend it, because if they want to change one sentence in one module, then okay, you have the voiceover artist has to be available. First of all, they have to sound the same, and even though it's the same person, day to day they might sound ever so slightly different. So you can tell it's kind of been spliced in there, and so it could take us conceivably a week to change a sentence. But now with AI, we can do it in moments. So it's one of those no-brainers for us.
So it's reducing costs, it's increasing the turnaround time, speed,
Yep.
and also the quality as well, right? Like just the speed of production, everything improves actually.
Yeah, and now that the quality is better, then that is a key element. The thing that has been lagging and is only really, I'd say, recently caught up is Arabic voiceover. Now, English has been good for a while, like probably 18 months or even longer. It's been good enough. Arabic has lagged, but now they've got the newest, generation of voices, and they can do Arabic now as well. So we've only felt confident to do Arabic AI voiceover probably in the last 3 or 4 months. Because
let's dig one more minute into the Arabic audio, because like it's a challenging one, isn't it? Because like there's different dialects per country within the Middle East. It's a Middle Eastern podcast, so that's why I want to spend a little bit more time in that. And they're all quite particular about that as well.
Yeah.
So are you finding even the dialects a little bit pretty spot on? For the majority of the GCC countries, or
so I think
it's about the translation, right? Like it's the actual content, but then it's also the dialects as well, which is like very small nuances.
Yeah, I mean I say they've nailed it because we've successfully delivered to government clients both in the UAE and in Saudi, and it's utilizing typically Khaliji Arabic, so the Gulf Arabic, and there's also other, like you said, dialects or and so on, like Egyptian and so forth. But the ones that they have available here have been of a high enough quality now to deliver to even to government clients who have the absolute, rightfully the highest standards that you might expect there. So yes, but it wasn't there 3-6 months ago. Now it's there.
And that's through what, 11 Labs again? Or this is through more of a localized AI tool?
That's a great question. So I believe, I don't know the answer off the top of my head. I think we're using 11 Labs. But it might not be the voices that are directly available inside of Articulate. But I'm pretty sure we're utilizing 11 Labs there. But there was another tool that we were using, but we've stopped before because the Arabic was better, but now it seems like 11 Labs has caught up there. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 11 Labs we're utilizing.
But that example just shows like how close you have to keep an eye on these AI tools and other AI tools that you're currently not using, because like as soon as the AI tool releases a latest model, you see dramatic changes, don't you? So like it's really cool that. And I think it's important that you don't be tool specific. We're the same as well, right? So we keep on watching them, and they're evolving and they're competing with each other. And as soon as they release a new model, you see, the intelligence, the quality, it just dramatically improves each and every time.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's a full-time job keeping an eye on, but it is something you need to do. So I have a weekly. This is generated partially by AI, a weekly kind of news update that gets posted to a dedicated channel that we have talking about AI. So Cappy AI, inventively. So it gets a weekly news summary of AI-focused developments and e-learning focused developments, and it gets posted there automatically. So the one that was yesterday, it's every Wednesday, had about the new Adobe Creative Cloud, which we subscribe to, updates. So I can't expect my IDs to all follow every piece of news, but now there's like some new features that will allow you to do editing faster or do vector image generation faster. So these can transform your workflow, but unless you know about it, like you're not going to be able to utilize it.
I mean, it's interesting to see that Adobe is finally coming around and utilizing more AI, and they have to, right? Like those traditional tools, like so many of their tools are just going to also, as a software provider, going to be, this is off topic, but like Adobe has to watch their back, right? Like you said at the beginning with Premiere and After Effects, like the majority of people that were using these, which is video production houses and content creators like yourself, like they're never going to continue to use those and pay those expensive license fees. Obviously, maybe, you know, high-end video production companies for television commercials, fine. They will probably continue to use them. But a lot of the people who can do things cheaper, faster using AI, you know, and I'm even thinking Photoshop, right? Like Photoshop, like I was thinking about that a couple of weeks ago. Photoshop, is that going to be, it's never going to be as popular as it once was. Things are like Adobe, like if you ever use Photoshop, it is so many tools and so many buttons and it's fun, but like it's time consuming, right? Like AI is generating stuff which you could do in Photoshop manually, just as good. So Adobe, I'd love to see what's happening with the stock price and maybe their revenue of Adobe, because like, oof, I wouldn't want to be Adobe these days. Thankfully, they've been around for a long time, made plenty
They've
of
got
money.
incumbency, definitely. And like all of our, like for us, like we hire graphic designers primarily and then teach them about instructional design. So all of these guys grew up using these tools. And so they're very comfortable there. So there's still a gap there from the tools that people have learned and experienced with. So they got the advantage of incumbency and the brand, of course. But I feel like they're catching up now, to be honest. Like they've released new products. So, you know, they are an expensive license compared to some other things. But, you know, we're using Firefly all the time. I had to get more credits like per our accounts because we just burned through them in some projects. So, but yeah, I'd love to ask you guys. So what kind of elements has AI been utilized for you? Obviously, you do a lot of technical developments and so on. Like, how has it transformed how you guys are operating?
Yeah, it's a really cool topic. What you're just covering there is looking at how you're utilizing these tools for your commercial products and services, and we are doing the same. So, we started as a web agency, traditionally designing and developing websites. We're still doing that today, but we're completely doing it differently compared to what we did 15 years ago. In every aspect. So to give you a quick overview, like we introduced, I think a lot of companies are going to do this where you've got your traditional way of doing a service. So we've got, you know, utilizing one of our web UI UX designers to go through the entire design stage with you. And then we do the development of that app or web. But today we also are offering AI generated design websites where actually you don't even need the designer anymore. We've got our account manager and our front end developer, and they're able, and our designer could do the same, right? So our designer, but today depends on their workload. The designer will do the AI, use the AI tool to do it, but also our front end developer can use the same tool and do it if our designer is not have enough capacity. So we had 7 designers, full-time web app designers. Today we have 3. We could possibly even reduce that headcount even further moving forward as well. So it's changing quite a lot. Not just from how we do the design, but actually the entire project process as a result of using AI. Previously, we had around about 9 stages of a client to give feedback, approvals, and we completely re-looked at the whole project process, and we've reduced that to either 1 or 2 client reviews and approvals stages within the project. So reduce it from 9 to possibly 1 to 2. depending on what type of website that they want. What does that mean? That means that we can reduce the timeline from 2 to 3 months to 2 to 3 weeks to, very honestly, 2 to 3 days, right? What does that mean? We can reduce and be more competitive and even more profitable with the pricing, right? Because like the turnaround time is so much faster. And what did that mean as well for us? You know, like by introducing AI into our service offerings, like it opened up new doors for us. We weren't able to work with startups. Now we can, right? Just because like startups wouldn't be able to afford, and we couldn't do a cheap website because it was 2 to 3 months, right? But if it's 2 to 3 days, we can now work with startups and we can be very competitive. And we've got a completely different business model as a result. As a result of this, you know, we're now, I don't know any web agency that's signed a deal with Free Zone before, but through this and through our partners, we've managed to also, you know, having conversations with Free Zones to work with them and help their customers with their websites, which are startups predominantly. So, yeah, similar to you, we're not tool specific, but I'll add something else onto this though. And again, we're seeing that when the AI tools release new models, that we see a dramatic improvement in creativity. So we'll jump between the models. We have jumped from, I think we started with Lovable. We then went to Verso. And then we went, I think Gemini released 3.5 Flash in May 2025, and we saw a dramatic improvement in the quality of design, which is using Google AI Studio. And we've stayed with Google AI Studio ever since. One of the benefits is because we run our entire company on Google Workspace. So as a result, like there's just more and more value that Google is releasing within that subscription, right? So we get a lot of credits, a lot of tokens that we can use within the studio. And that's all inclusive within the current subscription. There's no extra cost there for us. So instead of having to sign up and pay more money for more subscriptions and more tokens with AI tools, like Google is amazing, right? And it's just creating more value. I love that, right? Like for that one, haven't changed the price, but they're just giving more and more value with, you know, a whole suite of AI services. So, and very honestly, like it's doing such a great job. So we do everything. It's not just the design, but it's like it's doing fantastic animations on the website as well, like scrolling and hover animations. Obviously, we're not a content creation agency, but now we're able to even create the copywriting as well as visuals and even video as well if the client needs that. So yeah, I mean, like I won't go too further into it, but yeah, we're using, and then like even in the development phase of that, we're able to use quite a lot of AI tools, which is expediting the development of websites as well. Our industry, like yours, is changing rapidly. I'm sure we're going to be changing over to more tools in the future. You know, Claude is doing so much, but also WordPress and everything else is you know, trying to catch up and not lose market share. So you know, like at the moment, that's what it is. But yeah, we think it's going to get even easier in the future to build websites. So, you know, watch this space.
Yeah, well said, mate. And yeah, we brought out a new kind of product, kind of similar to your AI websites in a way. It's called our fast track program, which is, you know, it's basically, I mean, it's got a bit of Capytech magic there, like where we do some different QA and kind of red teaming and so on. But basically, it's AI generated e-learning modules with more, you know, robust testing that we can develop as a service. So it's quite interesting. But yeah, you have to adapt, and that's actually what I'm going to be chatting about in the webinar I mentioned. But one question: have there been any changes besides on the product side, but like internally? How you're managing the company itself. Like to give you our example, we use our tool now. We moved from Slack and Asana to ClickUp about a year ago, and one of the things that ClickUp kind of presents itself as is like a very AI kind of forward solution, and everything's in one place, which is great. So they've got a tool called Brain, and it's a standalone app. It's also integrated directly into ClickUp, but lately it's gotten really good. So it's connected to a bunch of different services like my email and obviously ClickUp itself. So now if I can't find something, it's very good. And Google Docs, we're on Google Workspace as well. It'll search everywhere and bring it all in there. And then of course I can post tasks. I can give a brief and then it will allocate tasks and do all these kind of things for us. So I feel like we're just scratching the surface of what we could do from an organizational management perspective, utilizing the AI tools. But have you been playing with anything along those sides?
Yeah, I think we'll continue with this podcast by talking about like what we're doing then from the operational perspective, right?
Yeah.
So I think it was a great, and that's a great segue. Like at the beginning, we've started by talking about some of our commercial services and how we're offering and how we're selling and how we're doing it. But I think getting into more operational purposes, which is the other benefit of using and introducing some AI tools. So I'm just so happy that we're always being on Google Workspace. I think it's like Gemini is super, super underrated. And I think like Microsoft Copilot is very similar situation as well, where those big enterprises, they run everything on Microsoft already. So for instance, like we do SharePoint setup and implementation, and enterprises will always go for SharePoint. Whether it's the best tool in the market for you sort of like a human resource management tool or not, like they're really most of the time stuck on SharePoint. Why? Because everyone's already running on Microsoft and they want to stay within that Microsoft environment. These are conversations that we have all the time. And it's not me telling them that. They're telling me that. No. We want to just use SharePoint, right? Like, and SharePoint's been around forever, and I think SharePoint's going to be around for a very long time to come, just because like those enterprises are running everything. But now with Copilot, like having that AI tool is it's not a bolt-on. The cool thing with Copilot is like that AI has access to everything. Like because they've got the Microsoft what's it called? Cloud? The storage, the Microsoft storage. So they store everything. No, not the Azure, not the hosting. Within the Microsoft suite, you get a whole bunch of storage as well, like Microsoft, within that subscription, it's very similar to Google, right? Like you've got Microsoft Teams, you've got now Copilot, you've got storage, you've got email, you've got OneDrive. That's it. Thank you very much. So like, because all your storage and all your documents are in OneDrive, you got all your emails on Outlook, whatever it's called, on 365. Sorry. All your teams there, all your to-do lists is there. It's all Microsoft, and then SharePoint as well. So Copilot is going to be extremely powerful for those corporates, just because like you don't have to like connect it to Google Drive or connect it to ClickUp. It's just going to search everything, and all the data is already clean and cleansed, right? Because it's all there. You just have to do the right prompt now. It's going to have no problem to learn what it needs to learn about you, what you want, and all the data's there. So we're the same actually, like with Google Workspace. Like we're so happy that I think this could be like a bit of a grab, right? Like ClickUp is great, but then like you said, you're still having to connect maybe to your email, which maybe you could be 365, your storage, which is Google Cloud, for instance, and still connecting a few systems together. For us, like I think the powerful thing that we're seeing is like the guys are just using Gemini more and more and more. And also with all the storage is all in Google Cloud, all the emails are on Google Workspace. And now we've got Gemini, and you've got all these new AI tools that Google releasing as well. Google Worksheets as well. That's another one too. And Microsoft Office, you're running everything on Office there. So yeah, at the moment, like just using Gemini, to help us. And the cool thing is, it's not just like finding stuff for us, but actually it's helping us generate reporting. It's helping us generate audits as well, from fetching everything within our system. Obviously doing all the emails, drafting as well. So Yeah, I'm seeing my guys use Gemini um, in many different ways, but I'm seeing the quality of output dramatically improve in regards to audits. You know, we do a lot of auditing and recommendation reports, and then we do the implementation, and our guys the reports are going through the roof, like from our maintenance team, the lead generation team, projects team as well. So yeah, we're just going to stick to Gemini and Google at the
Yeah.
moment just because it's all there.
Yeah, nice, nice. Um, all right, great. So we're going to give you some examples about some practical kind of DIY things that we've done that have been actually fairly useful. And I thought I'd give an example of I had a small pain point, and it's quite relevant to the company. And so basically I was using a tool before, similar to Loom. It wasn't Loom, it was another tool, but similar to that, where it's basically allows you for pretty seamless capturing of your screen and doing short videos. And I love like making a short video to explain something and sending it to people. But I also like to know if they've watched it. So the tool I was using could do some of that, but it wouldn't give me the reporting exactly like I wanted, and it wouldn't allow me to create like unique links. So if I send you a video and I send someone else a video, I couldn't create separate links for each one of those to know if you watched it or they watched it. So I thought, surely this is doable. So I end up doing these kind of projects in my weekend. So I was paying, I think, I don't know, $20 or $30 for this tool every month, this classic kind of SaaS tool. And it was fine. But anyway, I thought, let's see if I can replace this. So over the period of 2 weekends, I managed to build this tool, which, again, creatively I'm calling Cappy Watch. And so it's a Chrome extension. It's not on the store, it's just on my computer. And I hit the extension the same like I did in this other tool. And it gives me a couple options like capture, where am I going to place the camera, like all the camera feed, what am I going to capture on the screen, and so on. And then, so that's all built living inside of my browser, same like the other tool. But then the slightly more complicated part was it captures that, then it uploads it both to like this dashboard that I've built with all my videos and the analytics, and it also, and you might appreciate this, uploads the video file itself to Cloudflare. So Cloudflare has a streaming service. So obviously that's CDN, like content distribution. So it's a very efficient way of getting files for those non-technical amongst us. It's an efficient way of getting files closer to people, so it performs better. That's what YouTube and everyone else uses. So it uploads it to Cloudflare, this Cloudflare service, which it's the only part I pay there. It's like $3 or $4. And then I've got this analytics dashboard that I can upload it there. I can create different links. I know when people have clicked it. I know how long they've watched it for, and so on. So I had this fairly minor pain point, but a bit of curiosity, and built a complete replacement for this tool that I was using. So I've cancelled that subscription, of course. I'm paying 20% off the cost now of what I was paying before. It's a small cost, but it does exactly what I want it to do. And if next week I say, actually, I want to change this, I own that. So I can adjust it however I see fit to meet whatever new use case I might have for it. And the
analytics you're getting from Cloudflare then, with the because it's doing more than what you're doing before, right? Because one of the pain points with the analytics dashboard. So you're capturing that from Cloudflare, or is that getting put into your dashboard that your AI tool made?
Yeah, so it's going directly into my AI tool, but it's pulling. So the link is created on the tool itself in Cappy Watch. So when I send a link and you click on it, like it captures that click. And then it can cross-reference that with the viewing data from Cloudflare, so it can kind of pull the two together. So I know that you clicked it at 10:30 and you watched the first 2 minutes or whatever it might be of it. And I didn't even really need this, but it built it like it added like a call to action at the end. So it's like, okay, and this was built in the other software, and it just kind of replicated it. It's at the end of it says, okay, click here, or I can have people fill out a form. So if I wanted that as like a marketing tool, I could use it for the same. It's not really what my use case is, but I've got that capability as well.
So cool. I just love it so much. Like, it's such a cool, like, 2 weekends. So basically, what are you saying? Like, it practically, like, how long did you spend? Like 4 days on this or 2 days on this? Like, one Saturday and then the next
Well,
Saturday?
usually
Like,
I'm like
or like
working, yeah, a couple of
a
hours.
couple of
Like I,
hours?
because I want to spend a couple of hours each one of these days. So like,
Hmm.
I'll typically get up. I'm up early. I'll sit down at a computer for a couple of hours before the family gets up. Do that early, and then 2 hours a Saturday and Sunday for 2 weekends. So maybe I spent 6 to 8 hours, maybe less, because I'm not just doing one project at a time. I've usually got three or four. So
Tinkering
while
away
it's
with a couple of
yeah,
things.
exactly. While it's building something, I'm kind of specing something or QAing something else. So it's rarely I'm single threading, and this is very common now. You'll have like three or four different agents running on different projects, and you're just kind of managing them.
And like, what tools did you use to build this?
So it's Claude Code. So
Okay.
that's my primary tool. Has been for quite a while now. And but I have a bit of a good workflow around it. So I'm utilizing Claude Code, but I integrate that with a variety of different prompts and GitHub and so on for managing issues. So I can, in short, the workflow is I'll spec something out. I'll have a spec.md file, which I'll brainstorm again with Claude Code. I'll take that spec.md, I'll put it into a working directory. I'll have Claude Codes like analyze and build that. I'll push it to GitHub. Then in GitHub, I will track all of the issues. So I'll go for a QA round. I'll track those as separate issues that I'll put onto. It's a private repository, and then and then because it's changing all the time. Now you've got the slash goal function, which will make it go into a loop. So I will now my current workflow is slash goal solve this issue with the link to the GitHub, and then I've got a keyboard shortcut which gives it a short, well, it's probably a couple of paragraphs prompt of the expectations, like to test it and make sure it's blah 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 working, and that's it. And then I'll hit enter and off it will go. I tried that. I did that using Fable when it was available for a while. Oh my god, I burnt through the credits like that. It was fascinating, but yeah, that's kind of the workflow I have there for building any of these. It's been similar, but with just refinements over the last 6 to 12 months.
So you're finding, from the credit perspective, Claude Code is uh, the most cost effective in regards to token usage.
I don't like. I can't
Or it's
say
just
that
the
I
quality. The quality is
the
just better compared to
the
other
quality is
tools
great,
out
and I
there.
like using the command line interface as well. So I'm not using for building apps. I'm not using the Claude Code app. I'll come back to how I am using the Claude app in another example, but I'm just using the CLI command line interface. If I'm when I'm deploying something like this Cappy watch, I will be doing just direct to production. Like so, I'm SSHing using Mosh into a remote server. If you understand what any of that means, then great. And then so it gives me good persistence of the sessions. And then I'll just do it directly in production because it's for me anyway. It's not for a client. And yeah, so I just do that all through the command line. I can do that anywhere. I can do that on my phone technically. I've done that a few times, but it's a bit annoying with your thumbs. Some people love it. I prefer to work from my computer when I'm doing this stuff. But yeah, that's
And
how I build it.
and you're hosting it where? So because you've got a dashboard there, so you're hosting it. You've got the dashboard, which is a web interface. So
Yep.
where did you choose to host it then?
We have our own virtual servers. So we
Mm.
use Hetzner. So we have AWS for some applications, but mostly I'm using Hetzner. Now, for anything it's like internal, they're hard to beat on a cost effectiveness side. So we set up a VPS for $10 a month or €8 or whatever it is, and I'll run like 6 or 7 different services on it. Now, nothing's critical or client. So if I break something, then it's not the end of the world. I can pretty quickly bring it back up as well. So that's
Not
how I'm
huge,
doing it.
like it's not like huge traffic or bandwidth
No, no,
usages
because
because it's like for internal purposes, but
that's
still
right. That's right.
VPS is still
So you
nice
could
and
do it for
secure.
nothing. And I mean, it work if you did. I mean, if it was something that ended up getting a lot of traction, like your other services will end up getting a little bit expensive on those side. But if it's a virtual private server, I mean, you can't beat it for cost effectiveness.
And then you published it. So you've got the hosting for your personal dashboard. But then that's another cool thing is like you've made it a Chrome extension. So which is for the recording aspect of it. Like,
yeah.
Why did you choose to make it an extension for Chrome instead of like having just keeping it all as a sort of web-based app for the recording?
Well, I basically wanted to replicate the capability that I had previously, and Loom and others are all doing it using a Chrome extension. I figured, okay, there must be a reason they're doing it that way, and there might be a requirement for access to your device so you can capture your screen and your microphone and so on. I don't know if that is actually, maybe I could have done it purely as a web app, but right now I've got a Chrome extension. I click it once, and then within seconds, I don't have to load a page or anything. It's ready to go. So I guess it's removing the friction of usage. So I'd click that, and within 2 clicks, I'm recording my screen, and then like finish my recording. 30 seconds later, I've got a link ready to send, which is the frictionless approach that I wanted.
Like that. So like what you've done is from a user perspective and your own experience experiencing that other tool via a Chrome extension, that human logically makes sense, right? Like I'm comfortable using it in this aspect, so I'm going to try and replicate the same. But from the technical perspective, it is interesting why they are all doing it as Chrome extensions instead of like a native application on the desktop. Maybe it just might be easier to access the camera and the microphone through the Chrome extension. I'm not sure actually. Like it's a good one to ponder about. But I don't know. But then again, if you're using Claude Code, like I'm sure I can figure out how to access the microphone and camera via the application anyway. Via like a native application on the desktop.
Yeah, I mean, and the other option was, of course, to build a native application. So you could have done a web app, this Chrome, or a native app. And I don't. Maybe it can be done as a web app. I'm not sure, but you'd have to load the app, and perhaps it's completely technically possible. I'm not sure, but maybe it's a bigger lift. You could do the native app, which would have other benefits, but then you need to think about. Well, I presume I would need to have Xcode installed because I'm on a Mac, and there's other levels of friction. Whereas I feel like the extensions, like for Chrome or other browsers, are something that's, it's a nice middle ground, and they're not very complicated. The apps are not particularly complex, so they're easy to develop.
And the other thing is you don't have to publish it to the app stores, right?
That's
so
right.
That's another big thing, right? Is if it's a native application for the phone or desktop or smart television or tablet, it needs to be published there, whether it's in a private or public app store in the iOS or Android. And you need a subscription, and you have to pay for that subscription as well if you want to publish it. So I think like if you want to go more commercial use, then of course that might be the avenue. But yes, there's going to be less costs and less friction because Apple and Google need to approve those apps as well before they go and get published in the app store, their app stores. So
I think you can. I need to explore more of this side because I believe that you can, as long as you do have to have a developer account, but you can do private distribution using, I'm blanking on the name of it. But basically it's not for commercial use. If it's a tool you're using internally, like this, if I wanted to make a mobile app for location for this, because we have an iOS developer account, we could do that and you just manage distribution to specific devices. TestFlight is the app I'm trying to think of.
TestFlight, and you just give the APK. You just give the package basically. So you can do that sort of like privately to people that basically, instead of, there's actually app stores where you can just upload the APKs for them to download and install outside of the app stores as well, actually. I know we're running out of time though, so maybe we jump onto your next application.
I mean, that was all exciting, but actually the one that I'm using by far the most, and it's had AI-wise the biggest impact upon me personally as a CEO and company founder, is what I've called my AI COO, Chief Operating Officer. So I tried a few different ways of developing this, until I've gotten to where I am right now. So it was built using it's powered by Claude Code. So I'm now I'm interfacing with it using the Claude app. So if you have a Claude app, you've got Claude, you've got the Claude main interface, and you've got Cowork, and then you've got Claude Code. I tried it with Cowork for a while, but Cowork, because it's trying to be more secure, it kind of limits, it ring fences all of your different implementations. So you lose some of the capability there. In Claude Code, you have the ability to kind of do a lot more. So it can access APIs, it can write code, it can have persistence across different instances. You got better persistent memory, and I use that third Cowork because I use Claude Code exclusively for this. So any apps I'm developing, I use in the command line interface. So my Claude Code on the app on my desktop is exclusively for my COO. So then I've got projects there, which are just like ways of managing the chat. But the key element that makes this so useful, there's two things. One is it's connected to everything. So it's connected to my email, it's connected to my G Drive, my ClickUp, my Basecamp. It got probably a bunch of other things as well. It's got MCP access to my social media scheduling tool. When I record this video podcast now, I will give it the file, and then it will chop it up and transcribe it for me. And then, and I haven't told you this, Sam, yet, but it's now with utilizing Buffer, because Buffer released some new CLI tools recently. It can do all the scheduling for me as well. So I figured all that out, all using the same tool. So the integration, so I can say, right, I'm having a meeting. I did this yesterday. I'm having a meeting with someone later. Check all the details. Oh, it's connected to my CRM as well. So it will check all our email conversation. It will check the proposal. It will check the CRM. It will tell me a little bit about that person from their LinkedIn. And it'll give me a consolidated list. And then I can say, okay, create a Google Doc so I can share that with my business development manager. So that interconnectedness is just magic. The second part that's critical, and this allows portability as well, is the memory. So without the context, these tools are not that powerful. But this tool, and this is built up over time, knows everything about Capytech, knows everything about me, knows how I like to express myself. So I've got a voice.md, a voice markdown file. It knows what my priorities are. It knows our clients. It knows all the little elements of the company. All of that is stored as just straight up markdown files. So that means if Claude Code went out of business tomorrow, not that would happen, I could jump to another tool. Or if I wanted just to experiment taking that same context, it's just markdown files. I can go do it with OpenClaw or Hermes or one of OpenAI's tools, or any local build that I could set up. So I don't have to use Claude Code, but I do because it's got a great model. I'm already using it for building other things as well. So the AI COO is, I spend a lot of my day there consulting with it and managing different elements of my business directly into this tool. And it's been a game changer.
It's amazing. Like, is it a tool, or is it, would you call it a tool? Like, you've actually built this from Claude Code, and now it's an AI agent at the end of the day? Or is it still Claude?
It's still it's basically, I'm running Claude Code inside a directory. That directory is just called COO. Inside that directory are just a bunch of folders and markdown files. So I've not built anything custom on top of this. I was accessing it I used the command line for a while. I used Cursor and VS Code, but it didn't have the history. But now that Claude Code has a native app, I just use that, and it works great because I can search all the history. I can go back into threads from a month ago. It's connected to my to-do list manager as well, so it can add tasks for me, and then the one thing I don't have is linking back to the chat, but I just capture the name of the chat that I've described. So then if 3 months later a deal comes back to life, I'll find that chat from 3 months ago, and then I can go back to the context there and get any updated information. So yeah, that's how I've been using it.
Interesting stuff though, isn't it? Like it's like a proper agent that knows everything and put everything into context, and then able to help you and guide you, and as basically like a COO or
Yes.
personal assistant, but it's far more advanced, right? Just because like it can see everything,
Yeah.
I probably like your inbox, mine has tens of thousands of emails, so like it can sift through all that and all your documents and all your tools. Like it's far more sophisticated than anything we could, or anyone that we could possibly hire. And
Yeah.
for me and you, our brains are getting older and fuzzier. So like this is going to be extremely helpful moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think I wouldn't say I'll struggle without it because it's still quite new, but it helps. It leverages my time dramatically, and I've lent right into it. I've given it a lot of trust. Not that I tried that with like OpenClaw, but I just didn't have the trust in it to connect it to all of the services, so it just wasn't as powerful. But Claude Code, just have more confidence in it. It runs just on my computer, but the files, the brains of it, the memory of it is all uploaded on a private GitHub repository again. So if I lost my laptop tomorrow, I can, pull that GitHub repository and then I'm up and running in minutes again. So
that's really cool too. So it's got like all the backup of the memory that you've spent time developing and coaching and
it gets better over time
it.
because it learns more.
Gets better
You
as well.
say, oh, well, add this skill
Context.
or add this memory, add this. Yeah. So next time I added something about partnerships today, like remember my partners here. So if I ever ask, who do I know that does X, it knows where to find that information. And that's something I did this morning.
And this is a very interesting point. You mentioned there that you feel more confident, I suppose more trust in the brand of Claude
Yes.
instead of OpenClaw. So this is why you decided to go down this route. You just feel like they can be more trusted with this data of yours compared to OpenClaw and maybe where it can go.
Yeah, I mean OpenClaw, like I've still got an OpenClaw instance, like a Capytech running, but I just don't find myself using it because I haven't had that trust. And I know that OpenClaw, the power of it is that it's more autonomous, so you can say go work on something. But my fear is that it will, start working on something. It'll start emailing autonomously because it has its own, pulse. And whereas Claude Code, I can control it. It's got that brand name behind it. So yeah, I just have a higher level of confidence.
I'm pleased you said that because I was also thinking the same thing. I think a lot of people probably have that little bit of anxiety about these tools, especially like when they're completely independent. So like what you're kind of just saying there is like, at least with the Claw Code, like it's kind of ring fenced, right? In a way where I can have trust that even though it has access to a hell of a lot of stuff, right? But at least I still have control over it instead of the OpenClaw just, like you said, you wake up and it's doing all sorts of stuff. Like, could you imagine? Like, there's definitely an anxiety there that is just going to reduce over time, with us using these tools and continuously experimenting with it. I think, that anxiety will go down as we all collectively help and educate each other about these tools. But then the other thing is the tools are evolving as well. So it's like, it's a chicken and egg thing, isn't it? Trying to keep up with it all.
Yeah, it absolutely is, mate. Well, Brian, I know we're coming up to time now, and you've got other important things to move to. But again, as always, mate, I feel like we could go for another hour talking on this topic, but we'll close it up there. And maybe we do this every few months because for sure the tools and everything are going to change, and it's always interesting to have these kind of chats.
I concur with everything you said there. I love this chat. it's on topic as well. Like I think, you know, this segment is open for whatever's trending right now, and there's so much for us to share, and I'm sure there's plenty for us to also like learn more over the next few months, and share the latest and greatest findings as the industry is evolving extremely quickly. So so cool, so cool, mate. Great to see you again, and yeah, I look forward to see what's cracking over the next few months as well when we do this again.
Absolutely, mate. Take care of yourself, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, mate. See you soon. Bye.
Subscribe for more stories from the Gulf.